Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact The Connector, Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to Hashtag Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informed, intriguing, and pondering podcasts. Many thanks to Hashtag PodPro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of Hashtag Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let Hashtag Paul Ponders begin. Greetings, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Well, it brings me great pleasure to bring back Paul Sieswerda Jr., PJ Sieswerda. And if you recall, episode 5, we called it the Paul Cubed episode. It was Paul's dad, Paul Sr., Paul Sieswerda Sr., and Paul Jr., and myself, so Paul Cube. So I want to welcome back to this episode, Mr. Paul PJ Sieswerda.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Solano. Thank you so much for having myself back on again.
Oh, it's really great to have you on. And for our listeners in Paul Ponders land who have, in fact, heard me talk about whether it's on the Paul Ponders WATD 95.9 show or even the podcasts or just listening to the great episode number 5 with your dad. Gotham Whale is what it's all about, and it's really great to have you on. And we are both fellow board members of this great organization. And if you just want to let our listeners just know what Gotham Whale is all about and some of the great things that really came out of that episode with a lot of follow-up questions and a lot of people reaching out to us, and we'll touch upon those.
Yeah, so it is great to be back again. Episode 5 was really a treasure for me to be able to record with Dad and get some of those stories onto the Paul Ponders podcast. And like you said, there's been a lot of stories since then. So, you've mentioned many times about the journey of the womb to the tomb and the things we must experience. Things I must experience, and I've experienced a lot since episode 5, and some of them have been extremely difficult experiences, like losing my brother and losing my dad. But what I've realized also that's come out of this is, the organization Gotham Whale has brought a lot of solace to some of that loss with stories that have come out from all the goodness of what Gotham Whale does. We're a 501c3 organization, all volunteer based, incredible people that love what my dad established in his retirement with Gotham Whale. And it's been amazing to have these friendships and stories develop since I've got involved with this organization.
That's tremendous. It really is. Now, one of the things we had talked about, and we have a lot of things to talk about in this episode and all, but I just want to maybe just touch upon, your dad wrote a couple of books, a couple of really super, super books. The first book was the children's book, Big Whale, Big City. So if you want to touch upon that, please.
Sure. Big Whale, Big City is a great children's book that was inspired by Jerry the Whale coming to New York, and it's based on a true story of a photograph that depicts whales uh, coming into the skyline of New York, and it's a whale spy hopping with the Empire State Building in the silhouette. So you can see a whale spy hopping. Photographer Artie Raslich took that photograph and really put things into perspective of how close these animals are to New York City. And Dad did a little storyline on that and put it into a little educational and informational children's book. And it's really great to see that was published. And then he also did his life's work based around his theory on why whales strand themselves with a book called Stranded that intertwines the Moby Dick story and his life experiences. And it's that's another godsend that he finished that book literally weeks before he passed away. He hit the publish button and got got that self-published. So that was an accomplishment that was very godsend, I tell you.
That's so true. And just as a quick aside, I'm sure that those books are available on Amazon.
Yes, they are. Yep.
And how would our listeners find those books?
You can go to Stranded, written by Paul L. Sieswerda, and then also Big Whale, Big City by Best Publishing.
Gotcha, gotcha. And there's also a little side note. I remember you mentioning something to me about the fact that your dad was going to, in fact, deliver a book to Kelly Ripa of Kelly and Mark, um, but he never had the opportunity to deliver that book.
He did not. I mean, that was one of the things that I was working on to try to get some marketing into Gotham Whale's whalehouse, more or less. And I realized that Kelly Ripa was a fan of Fudgie the Whale, and Fudgie the Whale is that Carvel whale that was actually a story based on Father's Day. As a whale of a father was the marketing campaign that they did with Fudgie the Whale. And I did a little research and realized that Kelly was a big fan of Fudgie the Whale, and I had my dad sign a book to her, and I have not gotten that to her as of yet. And so that's one of my to do things in the next couple months.
That's fabulous. Well, so just as a quick shout out to our listeners in Paul Ponder's world and PS and All Marketing Group world, for anyone who has a connection to Kelly Ripa, what's the best way of getting her this book? It would be really great if she could, in fact, get the signed copy from Paul L. Sieswerda. That would be awesome. So just give a shout out to Paul at paulponders.com. And by the way, PJ, what is your email?
My email is Paul_J@gothamwhale.org.
Super. Thank you for that. And regarding Fudgie the Whale, I'm hearing that the Fudgie the Whale cake is no more.
I have not been able to find it. It's one of those things that I think you can order it from a Carvel, but it's far and few between. And I've reached out to the people that are affiliated with Carvel. I think it's called the Focus Group, and they have a chain of different food stores. And I'm looking to reinstitute Fudgie the Whale, get him back.
Bring back Fudgie. Well, to start a campaign. It's ironic you mentioning the focus group because my my previous episode was in fact based on the word focus, Focus. And just if you haven't listened to it, why not? But you really have to go listen to it. And it evolved and revolved around people who are running the Boston Marathon and not losing focus. And the focus, Focus, stands for fixating on certain ultimate sites. And maybe this is a site that we'll have to focus on with a focus group, huh?
I love it. I love it.
It's great how that plays up. Now, I know back in episode 5 of Paul Ponders, there was a story about the seal in the bathtub. Cecil, was it?
Cecil the Seal, who lived by the sea, who came to live with the Sieswerdas just like me. It was
I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so that is another book that's on the horizon. I've got my focus on getting that done sometime in the short future. Been working on it with the same illustrator that did Big Whale, Big City, Joy Reidenberg, who's very prominent in the whale world. She does all sorts of necropsies, which are like an autopsy on those big animals, whales and elephants and all. So she's amazing. I've been working with her and I'm getting that over the finish line, and actually talked to a woman today, as a matter of fact, that did some editing for Big Whale Big City, and she's offering her services for pro bono to help get this over the finish line.
Wow. I so recall, and I'm sorry if I'm not prepared on this, but I think you had milk in the tub, or was it water? I'm trying to think back now to the
It
episode.
was there was a formula made, and it was a an affiliation with going out to the hood plant over there in Charlestown, and they ended up getting some cottage cheese and milk to have these animals mix up a formula that they could eat. So it was a nice thing that Hood did for the animals back then.
Wow. All was good in the hood, I guess, right?
Amen, amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we may know some people over at Hood Milk, and maybe we could get them to be donors to Gotham Whale down the road, and maybe fund a project, maybe even be involved with the marketing of the book of the project, the voiceover, possibly, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how these conversations turn into collaborations, and I really am loving the fact of what Gotham Whale has brought to my life, and my dad's career has really brought me to some interesting places. We've talked about them in the past. I don't want to go down this road, but all the stories that have come out of um, reconnecting or re-engaging with my father's associates through Gotham Whale has been uplifting, and kind of offsetting the loss that I've been experiencing.
Absolutely, without a doubt on that. And I know there's been an incredible marketing of the organization. And I know that one gentleman who actually just does a tremendous job in marketing, Paul Ponders, PSNL Marketing Group, and other entities. His name is Scott Albertson.
Scott Albertson, dedication around the nation, amazing man. He met us, I think it was about 3 years ago. He had been promoting Gotham Whale prior to that for several months, sight unseen, without meeting my dad or myself or anyone from the organization, just like what we were doing. And he would promote it on his YouTube series. And we met him at, which I'd like to talk a bit about, is I just got back from the scuba diving expo down in Secaucus, New Jersey, which is the Beneath the Sea Expo. And the friendships and the partnerships that have come out of that uh, going down to Secaucus the past several years has just been amazing. I used to do it with my dad myself, just to go into um, the scuba diving world, which he brought me into at age 15. And now to be in it with all these newcomers like my friend Eric Hansel and, of course, Scott Albertson and Bob Hilberg came down with me this time. Executive Director Bob, who's taken a great role in the organization and picking up a lot of the work that Dad's been doing, and really amazing how people have been stepping up.
Without a doubt, and a shout out to Bob Hilberg, who just does a fascinating, wonderful job in his role as executive director. And he had actually just dropped in, I believe, at a book signing at Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. And he just fell in love with the organization.
That's exactly right, and that's how it transpired. Is happened to be there. It was National Pie Day, if you remember,
Yes,
and we were doing that promotion for the book signing, Big Whale, Big City, and as they say, the rest is history. And as you know, Bob is a great historian and great guy that did his book, the Total Patriots, and just a fascinating man. I'm very pleased that he's in this with us.
that's great. And also, too, you had mentioned Eric Hansel, and he was instrumental in making an introduction, I believe, to the people at Oni Jewelry. Is that correct?
100%, and that's another thing that came out of the Beneath the Sea relationships and these conversations that turn into collaborations. Eric was very instrumental on putting us together with Oni, and this Earth Day, the 22nd of April, we're going to solidify that partnership in Manhattan. This company only did a special whale charm for us, and proceeds from that whale charm will go to our organization to help fund educational programs and some of our research. And it's just amazing how that organically just formed into a great relationship that we're working with this jewelry company that is helping our organization along.
That's tremendous. And I believe that Eric also has some connections with the United Nations, if I'm not mistaken.
He's been doing a lot of work with this gaming industry, and it's a scuba verse, and so he does submersible games that are bringing it's he'd have to tell you better. I mean, that could be a whole nother show, but I mean, he does amazing work with people at the United Nations, and it's got us involved with a lot of different people that has good things on the horizon.
That's tremendous. It really is. Now, if I think back to that episode we had back on episode 5, I believe we had talked about your connection with music and arts and maybe putting on comedy shows, um, exhibits, etc.
That's one of the things that I want to bring to the organization is uh, Matthew McConaughey says it best. He says sometimes you have to know who you are not instead of knowing who you are. And I am not a scientist. I'm not a my dad would tell you the Latin names of fish and all that stuff. That's not me. I can bring the comedy stuff, like you said. We did a fundraiser comedy thing at Pearl Street that was amazing. That brought the humor and then also the entertainment to the organization. That I'd like to bring the awareness of what Gotham Whale is doing through arts and entertainment.
That's tremendous. It really is. But really, when all is said and done, Gotham Whale is not deviating from its mission, but I see it um, really enhancing and just elaborating and just expounding, if you will, upon what we stand for with the citizen science.
Yeah, and that's the aspect that when we're all people, and the stories that come out of the Beneath the Sea. One particular this past Beneath the Sea, I did my first speaking engagement, and one of the people from the organization AMSIS. They do a lot of stuff with the strandings of whales, and this gentleman, Rob DiGiovanni, brought up a story that was very comical and funny that I ended up hearing from one of the other people that was involved with it, which is Glenn Miller. And Glenn Miller is a gentleman that runs a salvage boat type of business that's right adjacent to my father's apartment at Staten Island. And they're out on the water all the time. And Rob brought up the fact that the first time Glenn and my father went out to deal with a stranded whale, they called in AMSIs, in which they're the authorities to go and deal with the whale strandings and entanglements. Um, I heard the story firsthand from Glenn Miller, which I went to his office. He sat me down. He says, before I even got through his door, he said, "Sit down. I have to tell you a story." And he was a great storyteller and told me how dad approached him and said, "If there's any whales in the area, please let me know. I know all the people in the whale world, and I'll be able to handle this, but I'd like to funnel it through me, and I'd like to, spearhead this." She says, "Okay." And Glenn says, the next week, his crew said that there was a whale that was entangled, and my father and Glenn went out on this boat, and they went to the location. My father saw it. He called up the authorities, and Rob DiGiovanni went out there. And next thing you know, Glenn starts telling me that all these people with clipboards and the scientists start throwing things and kicking, and you can hear swears coming off the boat. And my father called Rob up and said, "What's going on?" And it happened to be a big rubber bumper that fell off a boat.
Mm.
It was not a whale. So it was it was
Wow.
very discouraging to that first encounter with Glenn Miller and my father getting in the boat and chasing down the whale. It ended up being a big rubber piece of slab that looked like a whale. And Glenn proceeded to tell me that his crew for months on end would, joke with them and leave little rubber bands all over the place and say, "Please save me, please save me." And so it was very, very comical to hear that. And again, these stories that come out of the relationship, Glenn has a story of his father who was, you know, a rags to riches type of gentleman that went from real, plastering houses to, doing all sorts of boat salvaging, and a story in itself that is kind of magical on the play on how our journey got started, Paul, with, you know, good things are supposed to happen to you. Well, Jim Jim Miller, the story of Jim Miller, Glenn's father, is there's a book that says it's nothing bad ever happens, and it's amazing how that kind of coincides with how I got reintroduced to you as our friendship was rekindled by Joey's book.
That's right, and again, good things are supposed to happen to you. Joey Voices, Joey Noon's book, which is just a great read, and it did bring us together, and here we are recording another episode and making it happen, as they say. And just as we start to wind down, PJ, I believe that you have had Gotham Whale has had national and international exposure on TV and TV shows and all over the place, like Inside Edition. That's pretty cool.
It's super cool, and that was one of my father's real strong points is he would take any interview from any country. And the since episode 5, we've shown the Ocean's Angels over at the Arlington Theater, at the Regent, and uh bumped into Leland Stein last week, and looking to reinstitute that type of filming in what we're doing with Gotham Whale. And so we hope to get more involved in spreading the word of what Gotham Whale's doing through arts and entertainment.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And it really is just a true testament and testimonial to what a great man your father really was and how he was really Superman. And he just did it all. And it's just incredible how he had that thought, that vision, put it into place, and really made it happen for so many people. And it's really really incredible. And I applaud you for continuing along with our fellow board members and with Bob Hilberg as the executive director, just making it happen. And we are doing that. And just a quick comment disclaimer: we are not a whale watch company, right?
Correct. And the things that we are, and the accomplishments that we have done is, our head researcher Danielle Brown, she's just got her PhD. So, these volunteers that are working with us, Chris St. Lawrence, doing a lot of the legwork that's really needed, is amazing, and we're very thankful for that as well.
Absolutely. And also Kate McClave just does an incredible job. She is so technical, and she's really just an incredible doctor, if you will, right?
Yes, she's the fish doctor, and then we have Polly Fish. My our friends at Gotham Whale are amazing, and we want to share our friends with your friends, and everyone can be citizen scientists.
Absolutely. I love it. And how do our one more time, how do our listeners reach out to you?
You can reach out to myself at Paul_J at gothamwhale.org. Or you can just go to our website at info at Gotham Whale, and we will get the messages as well.
Awesome. Well, PJ, I want to thank you for being on. And episode 5 occurred. This is probably like episode number 60, 61. I lose track at times, but looking forward to more future episodes. How does that sound?
That sounds great. And yeah, one last thing, Dad did make it into the High School Hall of Fame for science, so that's another great accomplishment.
The Malden High School Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, PJ, again, thanks for being on.
Thank you, Paul. God bless.
Hashtag Indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed hashtag Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Chalonzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Chalonzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to hashtag Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, hashtag Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag the new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Hashtag Indeed.